Burn BGM on.
Don't forget, subscribe, like, share.
Burma coup resistance notes November 28, 2022. Hundreds of local organizations are trying to supply food, shelter, and health needs to 1.2+ million domestic refugees from junta violence, but the junta is clamping down on money transfer services used by the aid groups. The regime monitors transactions and abducts people it identifies as sending or receiving money used to help refugees, whom it is attempting to kill through starvation and deprivation. While this genocide is taking place, large international aid organizations, including the UN, refuse to send cross-border aid into liberated areas where most refugees are, insisting instead on passing their assistance through junta control, via Yangon, and changing money at the junta's artificial exchange rate, thus helping to fund the genocide. If it weren't for local aid groups, the refugees would be dying in much greater numbers. Ethnic regions. A battle raged last night in Monyan Township in Kachin State. Jets dropped bombs and there was mortar and gunfire. No details are available yet about the action. This may be part of the junta's all-fronts offensive. An Arakan army spokesman says there are now 30,000 to 40,000 junta troops deployed in Arakan territory, which would be a significant proportion of the junta's total remaining strength. He says troops have been redeployed there from Palor in Beit Tavoy district of Korthi Lake Tananthari region on Burmese maps, from Irrawaddy region, and from the Coast Guard. Karen Army Brigade 5 says that during the period November 20 to 25 it killed 7 junta troops and wounded 8 in sporadic attacks around Neutraw district of Korthi Lake Papoon Township on Burmese maps. The attacks occurred in Papoon Town, the Mae Way camp, and various outpost camps. Meanwhile, in Tarvu district of Korthi Lake Tantapan Township on Burmese maps, a local junta administrator was assassinated today by a local PDF. In Du Tartu district of Korthi Lake Thatan Township on Burmese maps, junta jets bombed a village near Karen Army Brigade 1 administrative headquarters 2 nights ago, November 26 to 27. Everyone took shelter, so there were no casualties, but some empty buildings were destroyed. In Beit Tavoy district of Korthi Lake Tananthari region on Burmese maps, a PDF killed a junta army major who was traveling disguised as a civilian on November 26, it was disclosed today. The Karenni Nationalities Defense Force KNDF announced that it has formed a specialized artillery battalion. It says a successful fundraising campaign has equipped it with 60mm, 80mm, and 120mm mortars, and gave the cost per round of each of these, about $85 United States dollars, $235, and $430, respectively. The KNDF spokesman doesn't specify whether these are standard or locally manufactured shells. He says it will make junta positions much more vulnerable. Junta troops are necessarily concentrated into tight camps for protection against tens of thousands of KNDF soldiers, so if these camps are now artillery targets, the junta's presence in Karenni state just got a lot more dangerous. Junta army desertions. A junta soldier defected to the Chin Defense Forces with full weapons in Kanpetlich yesterday. The number of known desertions is small compared to the number who simply abscond without notice, so the total exodus of junta troops from the army isn't known. Junta Scorched Earth Village Terrorism Campaign. Troops invaded Natmahotji village in Indore Township of Zagaring region last night and began beating villagers who didn't escape. This morning they burned the village. In Myaying Township of Magway region, 2 junta terror gangs are assaulting villagers. One gang of 80 troops invaded Ama village yesterday. Another gang of 70 troops attacked Wayanchang, shooting randomly and hitting houses, then sleeping in the religious monastery. Before that, they attacked Changzauk village. In all of these villages the troops kidnap residents for unknown reasons, without releasing them thus far. Thousands of villagers are fleeing with whatever they can carry. Today troops are burning Injan Kone village in Hati Chang Township today, after a battle nearby yesterday where PDFs tried to defend Mayatdor village from a similar fate. Gui Kone village was also burned yesterday. In Sagang's Minkan Township, local PDFs counter-attacked 40 junta Payusaw Hati terrorists that burned Payathone village yesterday, forcing them to turn back. There was an unknown number of junta casualties, but the PDFs are safe. In Kinu Township, junta terror gangs that have been burning villages have also planted landmines in public roads. The mines have killed livestock, and local PDFs are warning citizens to watch out for signs of recent disturbance in dirt road surfaces. In Madaya Township of Mandalay region, thousands of villagers displaced by junta violence are hungry and exposed outdoors to the seasonal cold. Now, during dry season, they also lack adequate water. 50 junta troops burned Ongsay village of Pork Township, Magway region yesterday, and killed livestock. They then moved on to Yangon village. People's Defense Forces PDFs. Yesterday's battle at Mayatdor in Hatichang Township must have been bigger than known, because the junta responded today with jet bombing that destroyed a Buddhist school and monastery in nearby Letha village, and ground troops burned nearby Injinkone village mentioned above. Local witnesses spoke of about 50 dead junta troops yesterday, but exact numbers haven't been confirmed. Civilians have fled, so there were no casualties from the jet bombing. In Zagaring region, the attack on a junta column returning to Wetlet town after destroying Tatecone village on November 26, reported yesterday, killed 8 of the 70 troops using drone bombs and gunfire. The troops murdered one villager, and were unable to reach Wetlet town. The progress of the convoy carrying weapons from India for the junta in Zagaring region was again impeded by intense attacks by local PDFs yesterday, who fired mortars, small arms, roadside bombs, and drone bombs at the 12 trucks. PDFs opened fire on another rural police barracks yesterday, at Nyampinwan on the Monawa-Mandalay highway in Myanmar Township. They used mortars and gunfire, but had to stop when civilian vehicles began passing through. This is one of the roads where junta convoys have been bombed repeatedly in recent days. A PDF blew up a junta patrol in Yinmapan town 2 nights ago, killing 2 troops. The main towns are the junta's bastions, so attacks on them there show just how insecure its forces are. Urban warfare. In Yangon, a local junta administrator was assassinated today in Dagon Mayathit Township. In Dagon Port, urban guerrillas today shot up a meeting of local junta administrators who track where civilians sleep each night, killing 2 of them and seriously wounding another. Urban insecurity is so bad these days that gold shops are staying closed. The absence of policing since the coup, combined with economic desperation, has led to a surge in violent crime, with gold shops being particularly targeted. Political and economic. Donations to the National Unity Government, refugee support groups, and local and regional defense forces are coming in from expatriate Burma citizens in Malaysia, Singapore, South Korea, Thailand, the USA, and other countries. The need is constant, however, for food and medicines for the 1.2 million internal refugees, and for weapons and ammunition for the people's military groups fighting to end the illegal regime.
Don't forget, subscribe, like, share.